Oh, he's been freezing and reappearing in last couple episodes.
Yeah, he definitely needs a new laptop. Have you seen his little Chromebook? It's on its last leg. Must be all the
Yeah.
porn.
Uh, he might have
Oh,
like
there
too
he
much
is.
stuff. There he is.
There's too many tabs open. Lance, close the porn.
Ha! There's no point.
Uh.
I don't know what's going on here with this thing. Anyways, let's talk about Life Force. No, Aid likes to try to make a comment about the girl with the boobs and her being running around the whole movie. I get that, but honestly, outside of that, and yes, I mean, I was probably 10 when I saw this, so it was definitely one of those movies where I was like, oh, boobies. But outside of that, I mean, you're talking about space vampires, Haley's Comet. It was sci-fi and horror all together, almost zombie-esque type of creatures at one point, uh energy blasting. So I mean, it hit all my fantasies of like a really cool horror kind of a movie.
Well, the name of the book was The Space Vampires, and they changed
Yeah.
it to make it
Yeah.
more of a
They didn't want to give it all away.
well, yeah.
Yeah.
And they were expecting this to be a huge blockbuster, but I'm sure Lance would let us know that sadly, blockbuster it was not. No.
Well,
Well,
as many cult films happen to be, they don't start off well, but always come in the end, make it to the finish line.
They
is
always
that
come
your
in the
motto?
end.
They
Thank you,
always
Lance.
come in the
It
end.
They
doesn't
always come
start
in the
well.
end.
It doesn't start well, but they come in the end.
Exactly.
That's all
Putting
we
that
can
on a
ask
t-shirt.
for. All we can ask for from Lance. But just as a little interesting tidbit,
Hmm.
this movie was also 1985, just like Confessions of a Serial Killer.
Mhm.
And both of these movies look like 70s movies to me. Is it because I'm young, nubile, fresh, and virginal? Who knows? But they just
Mm.
seem like 70s movies to me.
It's interesting that you say that because I agree. Because I feel like the effects on it, especially the beginning in the spaceship and going on to the what was it called, Churchill,
Mhm.
and seeing all of those effects, they were just so. I think Lance even touched on this before. They're very Star Trekky, like TV showy.
The weird thing for me watching it for the first time, I don't know, maybe it's because of the shit that's out there now or just being desensitized, but I really didn't feel like it was, you know how like Titanic was PG-13 even though they showed boobs because it wasn't like in a sexual sense. It's kind of how I got this female's, because she doesn't really have a name. This main
Yeah, I think she's
female
just girl
person.
vampire. That's
She's
what
Yeah,
Space Girl One.
yeah,
yeah.
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 That's my band. That's my band's name. But so I didn't really get anything sexual from him. Yeah, she was really pretty, had a really pretty body, but she's an actress. Of course she does. The only thing that made me feel a little skeezy is I guess she didn't really know what the part was when she
She actually learned
auditioned.
English on this movie. Actually, that's one of the things they were talking about. Where she, by the end of this movie, she actually speak English. She's actually a French actress slash dancer.
Hmm.
I think her name is Matilda May, if I'm not mistaken, which I think it is. Yes,
Yep.
it
Yes,
is.
it's
Sounds like a
Matilda
porn name.
May.
So, but yeah, no, like I get what you're saying. So then it comes. So I think in the notes that Aid was so lovely to give, she actually had to like keep like calling her agent to make sure she
Yeah.
wasn't on a porn.
Yeah.
Like that's pretty bad. Like he's like, I'm naked a lot.
Yeah.
Where's the acting in this?
Oh yeah,
What's my
she's
wardrobe? Nothing.
Yeah,
and I
exactly.
was reading she's only in the movie and this is a very long film. She's only in it screen time for 7 minutes.
Oh wow.
Oh,
Yeah, but
really?
what ended up happening, her Volvo was showing, ladies and gentlemen, because there was even the lady that was doing, was working with her was saying how you can't just shave her completely bare because things are gonna show. So Tobe Hooper inspecting her pubes every day is definitely something that I don't feel should have flown back then. But it was completely fine. In fact, the Sandra Axelby was the makeup artist in the movie. She was saying, she's like, I had to get down on my knees, like, every day and like clean it up. And like, 'cause
Ouch.
Tobe Hooper was like wanted, this manicured every day. And you don't really see it that much in film because they didn't want an X rating.
Yeah.
So for all of, I mean, if you see like different versions and different cuts of the film, you'll see it, especially in Europe. Like they just showed everything in Europe, I guess, but they did not show that here. And so I guess there was one point where she said that she would take like a wig and like trim the wig over it so it looked like she cut some hair just to make sure that Hooper was satisfied that the makeup artist had done something. And I'm just like, this is fucking insane. And Matilda May was the same way. Like she was completely naked all the time, even when they weren't filming. She was just always naked because she had to be. And so
Hmm.
people were
Sounds like
having,
someone at the tattoo shop.
yes, I know, like Mikey. Mikey's our Matilda May of the group, everybody. He
Mm-hmm.
refused, he refused to dress again after his lovely tattoo.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I mean, and I honestly like if she's gonna be naked anyways, like who fucking cares? But I guess more people had problems like being around her because they were like had to concentrate on looking at her face and not looking anywhere else. So it really
It
made
also
more.
is kind of weird though. Like I would feel because I've been on movie sets where people have been naked and stuff, but it's I mean this might just also be an American thing, but I also feel weird if she's 18, even though it's legal. I'd be like, "Ugh, you're just legal," and I'd like keep my distance. Whereas like there's been on sets where it's like a 29-year-old girl running around, doesn't put her top back on. You're just kind of like, okay, like you know who you are. You're comfortable in your body, like I really like the bodies of the sucked. I don't know. They weren't zombies
They're
really, but
desiccated. Yeah,
yeah, it reminded me of Return of the Living Dead.
they did.
That's but they were cool. I liked them.
They were very Return of the Living Dead, which I think came out the same year, actually.
Well, ironically,
Even, yeah, even,
well, no, go ahead.
he's so cute when you use ironically correctly. Good for you.
Oh my god. Well, yeah, here's the funny part about this is they actually used the dummies from this movie. They actually used in the first Mummy in 1999.
Yes, the desiccated body. I mean, why would you
Yeah.
throw them away? They look amazing.
Yeah, I didn't really have any issues with the effects. The light and the CG, like the lightning thing is cheesy, but it's to be expected. Like we even
Yeah.
saw that in the Boxer's Omen.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I give them
that's very
passes because
80s.
it's like, yeah, it's the 80s. That's what they did. Like I'm not gonna hold that against them. And then when they're floating into the spaceship, it's a little tinted green. And so, that's a little cheesy, but the prosthetic stuff was better than most of what I've seen from this time. So that's why I never really I didn't take any points away for the effects because of the other stuff, because I think this stuff made up for it.
Yeah. Did you guys think it was zombies? Because when I was a kid, I just thought it was like vampires and zombies, and this was what's happened. You know what I mean? And then some people ended up being vampires. Other people ended up infected by like whatever was happening. But the end run was they were stealing their souls. Just because they're space vampires. But like the other ones kind of were just more zombies, weren't they? I mean, their arms were falling off. Look at the part where he's driving, and he rips the arm off.
Well, no, because it was also really cool. Like when you get the two guys that get their life sucked out of them, I think it's the first two guys that do it, and they keep them in a holding, and they kind of turn into dust when they're not eating. And the guy runs
Mhm.
into the jail cell. Like, I was like, oh,
Yeah,
that's kind
yeah.
of cool. So I had the disadvantage of hearing about this movie over and over, and with my friend we did like the top vampire movies, and he was like, what about Lifeforce? And I was like, I don't know what that is. So I kind of knew it was like a vampire movie.
I mean, would you rank it now in a vampire scenario? Now that you're thinking
No,
about it? No?
maybe erotic vampire. I would put it on the top erotic vampire movie list. Because even though there's not a lot of sex in it, but the guy talks about how, and it's funny because the whole time I was like, you just need a gay dude. He'd solve this all without being tempted, because the guy talks kind of like what incapacitates him is the overwhelming sexuality that comes from this woman that's horrifying and debilitating. It's like, I don't see it.
Do you think
Show
they took
me.
away from the guys then? Because I mean, I feel like there was something like, you know what I mean? Like I think there was an opportunity missed with the guys. if they wanted to do, you know what I mean? Like, because there's two guys and one girl, and you barely even see the two guys. Like, what was it, like less than what hers was?
I kind
Mhm.
of took it as it's the 80s. They're not going to show naked guys running around because even when you see her, she's up full muff the back. Actually, I don't even
Yeah.
think you ever see like her actual vagina, at least in the one that I saw, but you see everything but, except the crimson peak. You see in the back. The guys get up, you don't even see their butts. Like things are strategically placed over their butts. And I'm like, you can't even show their butts. So I thought that was kind of like a
Yeah.
cop out.
There was,
Um,
because I was reading, there was a whole shtick about showing full frontal male nudity. You couldn't do it.
yeah.
So they even had to put like socks.
Couldn't do it.
They even had to put like socks over their private parts
Their
because
hoo-haws.
yeah, just in case, God forbid, because you know how Kevin Bacon, sometimes his dick gets out. And we don't,
Hmm.
especially Hollow Man. That was like the first penis I probably ever saw was Kevin Bacon's. And
Awkward.
like he didn't mean for it to be out. Like it's just there. I
Can't
mean,
help it.
not a bad dick. So there's that. Love you, Kevin. It's interesting because one of those space vampires was Tobe Hooper wanted Billy Idol to play one of the men because he had directed the Dancing with Myself music video. And so I think if Billy Idol had played one of them, that they probably would have had a bigger
Bigger role.
role in the movie because like
Uh
you can't just put Billy Idol in this fucking movie in his heyday and like not
Yeah.
not have Billy more. So
I was gonna say the movie does parallel a lot to Dracula. And so it's almost like they switched roles where Dracula's female and the wives
um
are male.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So, but to answer
Nice.
your question from before, I don't feel that the nudity detracted from the movie because, if anything, I don't think this movie would have the notoriety if it wasn't for it. Because, not that it's a bad movie, but just because when you mention Lifeforce, people are like, oh, the one with that naked chick. And
yeah.
because of so many people that saw this, because the generation before us wasn't really huge on horror. And I feel like our generation is more like we move past the guilt of liking horror. And we're like, yeah, horror's cool. And so like this came out in a time when we were all of an age where we wanted to see, well, some of us wanted to see, boobies all over the screen and stuff. And so I think that's what kind of made it a a core memory for some of these boys that love this movie so much as adults. But again, it wasn't sexual. And honestly, this movie had to be made so that we could get Species, in my opinion, probably, because I don't know of
Yeah.
Yeah.
any other one that did it. So,
I mean, the thing is, it was a popular novel at the time. They, you know, they were really trying to because this particular production company was so good at producing films that were more on like the Hammer, like like I want to say B movie caliber, but and I don't want to say Hammer horror either because Tobe Hooper wanted this to look like a Hammer horror movie, but like they didn't have the notoriety that they wanted.
So would you say in general in this situation, is this one of those situations where he had too much money and too much free ability to do whatever he wanted, that it almost became, you know what I mean? Like sometimes when you have too much ability to do whatever you want, without anybody kind of saying, hey, don't do this, hey, don't do that. Do you think
Well,
that ended up hurting him in the
he,
general way?
yeah, because even Patrick Stewart said that he was disappointed with the way that the film was cut. And Patrick Stewart loved working with Tobe Hooper, by the way. So I mean, I'm not saying anything badly about Tobe Hooper and the whole pube thing. Everybody, I don't know. I wasn't there. I wasn't alive during this time. I couldn't tell you what the hell was going on. But Patrick Stewart loved working with him. So he clearly was a good director. I mean, any interviews you see with any of the people who've worked with him before have had no issues with him. So I just don't think that he, like we were talking about this, I think in the last what episode? Oh no, it was for The Empty Man, right, Mikey? Like who the fuck was letting the cuts of this through? Like, and because there's so much of the film that we just don't need. Like, and I
yeah.
think that if they had just chiseled it down to, the kept the I mean, because when we do get the horror and we do get the effects, they are spectacular. I mean, I have a couple of them behind me right now. Like, I don't understand, but again, this was the 80s. Like people had time. Nobody else had anything to fucking do. It's not like you're on your phone all day. So we went to the movies because the movies was like a thing to do. Like I'm not saying that we don't do that now, but I know like back in the day, people went to the movies and made a whole night of it. Like it was the whole
Yeah.
shebang.
One of the only gripes I've ever had about this movie, I mean, is the sword thing where they made it seem like it was like this like relic.
Ugh,
The guy from The Thing, you know what I mean? And it was like
yeah,
this copper thing. They didn't really explain. I wish they would have done more with that. You know what I mean? Instead of like the scene where they're trying to, there's like some kind of mental connection between the girl and the colonel, and
You mean
you
like
know,
Dracula and Mina?
yeah. But like the fact that it was like she was able to like transfer her essence into another body, why her other body was somewhere. Yeah,
yeah.
it's like how do you how do you just figure out like you know what I mean? Like it's just there's little things like that which I wish it's just this movie could have been even better. I mean, and maybe because I was 10 when I saw this, and I just enjoyed it because it was just
Hmm.
seemed mystical to me. You know what I mean? And it just again, it was like to me, maybe this is like what a Universal movie felt like to somebody else in that time frame. You know what I mean? It was like, yeah, there's boobs, but like to me, it was like this is really cool. It has space in it. It has zombies. It has vampires. It has a doctor guy who kind of comes off as kind of like a Van Helsing-esque guy. You know, the one that's
Yeah.
like, you know, he's a studier of death. You know, and what's the thing? You know, like the scene where he makes that thing where it's almost like he wanted the other colonel guy to shoot him in the chest, and then his face like does that really cool like bubbling kind of thing, and he goes,
Yeah.
"Here
Yeah.
we go." Like he knew that was going to be the end result. Like he was excited to find out what life after life was about. You know what I mean? So there were so many little things that could have been even cooler. You know what I mean? Honestly, if somebody wanted to remake this, I'd be totally down because I'm not like it's not one of those movies where it's like, oh, it's so legendary that it can't be, you know, like not done again.
I don't know, but it's like it's the 80s. You know, what are the big names that they had in the film at the time? They didn't even like the actors.
Yeah, no, I mean he
Patrick Stewart
definitely.
wasn't popular yet, so
Yeah, no, I think he had maybe had done maybe Dune one of the thing, or like what
was
year
he in
was Dune
Dune?
in? Yeah, he's in Dune, the original push for the movie.
Oh no, I was going to say the Timothy Chalamet.
No, I know, but there's
No,
TV
I know
series and
there's
stuff like that.
the old one, right? When did that come out?
Yeah, I think it was in
1984.
80. I thought it was in 83.
No, it was 84. So it did come out.
Okay.
Oh, that is him. Look at that. Is that
Yeah.
Billy Idol standing with him? No,
No, that
that's
it would be
Sting.
Sting. It'd be Sting, which is ironic because I was thinking, I was like, oh, did he want to have his own rock star in his movie? You know what I mean, type deal. So that's why they wanted Billy Idol because Sting was in Dune
But
and did a
that was the thing back in the 80s. Remember, like,
yeah.
isn't Debbie Harry is in Videodrome? They have all of these
RuPaul's
like
in Mad Max.
not
Is she?
RuPaul.
It's Tina Turner,
RuPaul?
but she looks like
Tina
RuPaul.
Yeah,
It looks.
it was like
Tina Turner and Mad Max. I know. I was like about to be like, oh my God, did they put RuPaul in the new Mad Max? I was trying to remember.
to say the least. Unfortunately, this movie did not do well at the theaters.
How much
Unfortunately,
did it make, Lance?
it actually only made 11.6 million out of the 25 million he was given. But the movies they actually had to go against was The Goonies, uh, Silo.
Solo's a horror movie. Silo.
What's
Oh,
what is
bless
it?
your heart.
Silo. It says
No,
Silo. S
How
A
do you
L
Solo.
spell it?
O.
That's
That's
S
Solo.
A
Salo.
L O.
Salo,
Whatever.
Salo.
Silo.
No, not the
Anyways,
same thing.
No,
Cannibal. Oh
You
my
can
gosh.
read the whole title.
What? That's all it has.
Salo or 100 Days of Sodom.
Oh geez.
oh, I didn't put that. I hate that movie, so
Uh,
I don't want to give any more.
Cannibal
He's
Holocaust,
dead.
Cocoon, uh, Day of the Dead, and Daryl, which actually a lot of those I saw.
I know you were there, so
Lance,
Daryl,
you read
Daryl.
these titles like you've never seen these movies. Day
I
of the
know.
Dead. That sounds like when Olivia's reading a My Dog Skit book.
I know. Oh, you know what? Maybe just zoom in a little bit, sweetie. That'll be okay. Um,
Okay,
Where's
so
your
anyway,
glasses?
I know whatever. There's no
Get the
glasses. I don't think
bifocals
it's
next time.
Every time I see
We're
Reedy
gonna-
squinting, I'm like, we need to get you some
Oh my
cheaters for
God.
your birthday.
Anyways, I hate you both.
Overall, I liked it because it was really unique and it did like basically I always appreciate things on film that I haven't seen in other movies. Like I said, I'm a big fan of like the erotic thrillers from the 90s or horror like Species, and so I felt like this kind of kick started that a little bit.
I love the practical effects that they have are amazing. And you know, you can see that the direction of the film is very Tobe Hooper as well. So if you were a fan of Tobe Hooper, especially if you love, you know, Chainsaw Massacre or Funhouse, you know, since they came out beforehand, and then you could see what he did with Poltergeist, you can really see that yes, he can handle a movie of this caliber, right? However, yeah, I don't think the problems I have with it, one, it's too long, and it can be, and we've talked about this before, it can be too, you can have a 2-hour movie as long as the pacing is well, as long as we have an end goal, like we know what's happening, and we're invested in these people. Like, I don't think I was invested in anybody in this entire fucking movie, except for, you know, homegirl behind me. And then I'm pissed off because I'm like, why do they want to destroy her? She's like the only person that makes any sense at this point. Like, what the hell?
If you want to catch our video cast, which contains our reviews, and you can see our lovely faces, check us out at youtube.com/slashers podcast. We also have bi-weekly videos, reviews of all things horror, nerd at the comic shop, a YouTube exclusive, so subscribe. Our Patreon. If you'd like to access the monthly exclusive Patreons, reviews, and some sweet, sweet perks, and find us as patreon.com/slasherspod. Redbubble, if you're the kind who
You don't
likes
have to read the titles.
I know, it's just the category, honey. You read underneath it.
We also have an Instagram if you like to blow us.
If you like to blow us, please follow us on the Instagram. Thank you.
That's all I had to do.
Oh my God.
Are you even reading?
I don't know. I wrote it down. I even copied and pasted it for you.
Well, you
have
two are
one
making me nervous, and
job.
mostly,
I'm not gonna make you, like,
No, let's
listen,
do
just
it.
look at it and just read it. Just say,
I'm reading it.
just
You're
read,
just staring at me and then just
Take-
giggling.
take your time. I'm not giggling.
Anyways,
Nobody giggles.
no,
We're
yeah.
giggling silently.
Yeah. Anyway, just follow us on Instagram. That's where we are. We also have a TikTok and all the other little lovely things.
Okay.
I suck at this. I don't know why we just don't have this written down.
No. I'll go ahead and finish it for us because we can't do
No, I
this.
think it's perfect.
Okay, if you want to complain directly and tell me and Mikey that we're bullying Lance again tonight, you can follow us individually at pathologically ADE for me, Mikey at horror and a half shell, Lance at zombie versus hate, Doug at Doug Bizarro, Yahira at Yahi45. If you want to go harass Jason, tell him to get his ass back over here. It's J Hill 63. As always, we rely on the support of our beautiful listeners. We want to give a special shout out to our amazing Patreon members, Josh Gunn, Austin Proctor from Frightmares. Dinosaurs will always be awesome. Thank you guys. Lorene Ellis, my mom, Kevin Leamy. Love you, Kevin, Vlad Lewis, Johnny Miller, Leslie Thurman. We love you, Leslie. And of course, our beautiful Cam. So head on over to Patreon to join the likes of these amazing folks. Great job hosting today.
Yay, Lance.
Lance did a fabulous
Lies.
job. He tried very hard. Don't you worry. I will edit this episode and you will sound amazing. Yay.
You better leave that blow thing in there, though.
I'm leaving the blow in. The blow's going to stay. This is why I had to take
a
over.
YouTube short.
That will be the short. Mikey, I'll definitely upload it that way.
Yes, please upload that.
All right. Well, Lance, go ahead and take us home finally.
Again.
I mean, you know.
Well, thank you all for coming out and having fun with us. I enjoyed this one a lot. It's always nice to have my sweet, sweet cohorts with me. There's Mikey.
Hello.
And Aid. I appreciate you both. So, bye and good day.
Goodbye. Oh, bye, don't die.
Bye.
Die.
Goodbye.
Oh my
Lost.
God. Then we need to stop